Hi guys, it's Beth. Welcome back to my channel, and today I am going to share with you my final card share from the Classic Vintage paper pad by Craftsmart that came from Michael's. I started this in November and I'm finally finishing it off in December, just a few days before Christmas. So for this last round, I did use card sketches on a lot of them, and then there are some that I actually didn't use card sketches on, was just trying to figure out, just kind of playing with the paper that was left. So one of the sketches I used is MFT number 457. And I kind of picked this one just because I had this little scalloped border piece left sitting on my desk. And so as I was flipping through, I saw just the scallop border. And so I kind of adapted this one to fit some scraps that I had left. So you can see that it doesn't go all the way to the edge, and then this is two separate pieces and just covered the seam with the scallop. And I did turn the scallop up instead of down just because I thought it looked better on the brick pattern than the poinsettia pattern. And then I have my little kind of sentiment and embellishment here, and then I added some stone chalk or chalk stone, one of the two, or white chalk. Anyway, it's Nouveau drops. Vintage Nouveau drops, and so I just kind of added those to go with the snow that was already on the paper. This is Sunday Sketches number 22, and this one was just kind of, I pretty much kept it like a monochromatic and just played. There were two different patterns that had the same color blue, and so I just decided to pull those all in and create like a winter themed card. And then I did back all of my layers with craft just to help them stand out, and then have a stamp sentiment. And then I did add some clear Nouveau drop, or maybe they're white diamond, I don't know. Oh, actually, I don't know. I'm doing a horrible job at remembering what I embellished them with. I don't remember if it was actually my clear stickles, because they don't look white. So they might have been my stickles. But anyway, I added some little drops, some little clear sparkly drops, just to kind of go with the sparkly snowflakes. It's CPS 217, and that stands for Card Positioning Systems. And I made 6 of these, so this was kind of early in the last round of card making. I had a bunch of card mats already cut of this polka dot paper, and then I had like a full sheet of this like pink paper left, and so I just cut it down and was trying to use as much of it as I could, and then paired it with polka dot, backed it on the craft, and then I ended up adding kind of an embellishment here. I had printed this from my silhouette, and I just thought it needed something else to kind of break up the pink here, and so I just printed it on, I had it already printed on craft, and so I just used it with a craft stamped greeting, and then I added some more of those white chalky Vintage Nouveau drops. So these are all the same, they just look a little bit different based on where the card mat was cut from the sheet of paper. So this one I did not have a sketch for, was just using scrap piece that I had left, and I did have a bunch of card mats left, so this was kind of new for me, is getting down to the last round of card making from a pad, and I still had a pretty good stack of card mats, so that made it a lot easier. But I didn't have to like kind of piece together some backgrounds or card mats, so I just took this dark blue with the little glitter circles on it like snowflakes, and paired it with the kind of the wintry village scene, and decided to make this one a winter card instead of a Christmas card. And then this is just one of the tear strips from the top. They were all solid color, so I just pulled it in to kind of ground my sentiment a little bit. Kind of the same combination here, just a smaller piece of the Snow Village scene that I had left, and kind of changed the orientation a little bit and used a different winter sentiment down here. This one, I used two patterns that kind of were in the same color family. This time I broke it up with some walnut stain distress ink around the edges, and then I also added in a blue stripe here. I don't know, just kind of wanted some other color to kind of help ground it and pop out the turquoise. And then I did pull in a couple of different stamps here. These are both from an Echo Park, I think, Cabin Fever stamp set that I had. So just stamped the tree 2 different times, kind of fussy cut it out, and then another winter sentiment there, 'tis the season to be freezing. So this one I kind of did the same thing where I've just got that rectangular panel within the rectangular card mat. And this time I went with there were like 3 different shades of blue papers. And so this is just a different shade. And I pulled in some stickers from my stash. So this white snowflake is just kind of like a clear vellum sticker. And then layered on top of that, I have like another acrylic clear sticker that already had a gem in it. And these were actually popped up on foam, but the foam wasn't sticky anymore anyway. And it was just a teeny tiny, it was like the size of the gem. And so I popped the foam off the back of them and just added them with some art glitter glue. And then to kind of tie in kind of the triangle here, I just added a plain gem at the top. And then I had one sticker left on this vellum sheet and wanted to go ahead and use it up, so I just added it to the inside of the card. This one I actually had a cut apart left. Actually, this was a punch out. This pad had punch outs and cut aparts. And so I had a bigger panel of the bells, backed it on some plain white cardstock, but then I inked the edges of everything with the walnut stain, just to kind of give it that. I had already inked this one and the candy cane, and it was a little bit more like an off-white and kind of a vintagey feel, so I just inked everything else to kind of keep that consistent. This was just a piece I had left that had kind of a greenery on part of it, so I just turned it so that the greenery was at the bottom, and then stamped my sentiment at the top of it, so it kind of looked like it was his own little cut apart type card. And then used some of the tear strips from the pad as kind of an anchor here at the top, and then took a couple more of the scraps from the tear strips as little fishtail banners at the bottom. This one, again, used 2 of the kind of wintry scene papers that matched in tone. Again, backed it with some craft cardstock, and this time I did pull in some of that darker blue, like the nighttime sky scene, and then another winter sentiment, Let It Snow. And then here again, using those 2 of the coordinating kind of aqua patterns, and I had 2 strips of this snowy scene left, and this was like from one of the big 12 by 12 images. So I just kind of put it down here, kind of to break up the trees, stamped my sentiment directly onto this little panel, and then added a stamped snowflake. And again, this is a tear strip piece. Kind of the same trend here, just trying to use up some of those winter scraps. And so again, I have this strip of the snowy scene here. This time it's the sparkly snowflake paper, but then the same stamped sentiment. So here is a card sketch, and it is from Cards TV. And just kind of used a couple of the scraps I had left. I backed them all on craft cardstock just to kind of help tie them in a little bit better. And then my sentiment here says bundle up. And that's all there is to that one. And all of my cards for this round are A2, and they're all on craft card bases. So this is Mojo Monday sketch number 361, and I have 3 of these. So at one point I kind of went through and figured out which ones look like I could cut them down into like a 4-inch or 3 3/4 inch square, and then whatever I could get. These are all like 3 3/4, I think. Sometimes I can, you know, if I can get a 4-inch, I prefer that, but this was 3 3/4, so I thought that would work. And then I looked for patterns that I could get. I usually try to go like a 1/2 inch smaller than my bigger square. So since this was 3 3/4, I made this 3 1/4 inch square. And since this was kind of a plain pattern paper, I did add a snowflake. It's kind of a dimensional snowflake, and it is a Dollar Tree sticker. And then I have the Let It Snow. So you can kind of see at one point I like did all the Christmas cards I could, and then switched. I saved up all the wintry themed patterns, and or as you know, here I kind of mixed them, but saved up most of the wintry patterns and just kind of switched over and created some general winter cards just to kind of do something different. So here I just paired like the turquoise and the pink, and I have a brown tear strip behind it, and then Merry and Bright, and that is a sentiment that I printed out for my silhouette. And then same thing, except for here I didn't have any more of the brown tear strips, so I used a red. This is my favorite thing, sketch number 286. And one of the patterns was like a 12 by 12 inch snowy scene, and it had greetings. I don't think it said like season's greetings. I think it just said greetings. And so one of them I had turned into a tag in a December daily that I had made in November. And I still had one of these strips left. So I decided to trim it down as much as I could, and then just added it to this card, and kind of took a little liberty. So like I increased the size of this strip and this strip. So since this was wider, I just used a tear strip here, and then pulled in some more of the Dollar Tree kind of dimensional stickers, because I felt like it needed something to tie in the red, number one, and then two, it just needed like something with a little more pizzazz to break up all of the blue snow. So even after the stickers, I felt like I needed to bring in a little bit more. I needed to tie in a little bit more of the red. So I have the triangle with the red, and then I also brought in some more of the cream just to kind of make it make a little more sense, and then added the 3 little dots down here as well. So it's funny, like sometimes as you're building a card, you keep feeling like you have to add more and more and more to try and tie it all together. This is my favorite thing, sketch number 331. And here this is one full panel of the bell, but then I took 2 tear strips and kind of pieced them together to get a wider green strip here. And then I took another smaller thin strip that I had and turned it over to the white side to kind of cover up that seam. Then I have a little Merry Christmas sentiment stamped here. And then this Santa, I didn't have a lot of vintage style embellishments that match the colors in this pad, so I did end up printing some for my silhouette. So this was just kind of like a vintagey looking little Santa that I had printed out and then fussy cut from my silhouette. And then the last card today, this is Sweet Sunday, sketch number 201. And this one just kind of pairs 3 different patterns. I did break up the patterns with some craft matting. And then this is another little embellishment that I had printed from my silhouette, and I just kind of backed it on a green circle to help it pop. And then these aren't cards, but I did make a lot of tags with like some of the scraps that I had left. Rather than trying to piece together, you know, a bunch of cards from like little bitty scraps, I just decided to go ahead and turn them into tags, because I had sold quite a bit of tags this winter, and so I needed to kind of restock my tag stash anyway. So I have different kind of varieties of tags. I have some that are like little 3x3 mini cards, also on craft paper. And so my print here is 2 7/8 square, and then my card base is 3x6 and then folded. And so these are some more of the Dollar Tree stickers. I just thought that they kind of tied in well. Like I didn't have anything with that pink in it, so I was never going to be able to tie in the pink, but I just thought that these kind of matched really well with that pink paper. And then I have a couple of smaller, these are like 2.5 inch square note cards. So these were 2.5 by 5. And I originally cut them down because I had some smaller, actually these were the scraps from the 8.5 by 11 sheet where I cut the 3 by 3 note cards. And I did have some smaller scraps that would work perfectly on these. So this one, I actually had to take a scrap and then a cut apart strip and kind of pair them together to get a 2 3/8 inch square piece to mat the front of the card, and then took a little scrap of the red brick. And then these are some tiny puffy stickers that I got from Echo Park. I mean, and they're super tiny, like it would be really hard for a lot of people to read this, but this little sticker says Merry Christmas. There you go, so you might be able to see that. And then the cute little rocking horse. And then this one, it's the same kind of letter paper, and I had another scrap of that red brick, and I just like the red brick because it kind of created a little, almost a solid-ish type mat to put the little sticker on so that it would pop a little bit more. And this one says Santa Claus is coming to town. Like these little stickers, I mean, they're super cute, but some of them are so tiny, like I can't read them unless I put my readers on, or unless I'm holding them like super far away from my face. But anyway, so then there were some where I had like a rectangle strip, and I just decided to turn it into a little mini card as it was. So this was like, I don't know if it's, I don't think it's full 3 inches. No, it's 2 3/4. And so like 5.5 by 2 3/4 is what the piece originally was. And or it may have been longer than that, but I just trimmed it so that it would make a 2 3/4 square, and 2 3/4 inch square note card. And then took some more of those Dollar Tree stickers, and then this is a tiny, like a little tag stamp set that I have. This one I kept super plain. It's the little reindeer pattern. And so, because I don't know, I didn't really want to cover the reindeer. And so I just took my scallop corner punch from We Are Memory Keepers, the corner chomper, and just to give it a little bit of detail. And then on this one, I added some little candy cane sticker, the candy cane sticker with a rhinestone. This is another like 2 3/4 inch or 2.5 inch square note card, this time on like a white card base. Took some scraps, layered them together, and then took a little mini wreath from that mini puffy sticker set, and then these little, like, this is just a circle and some tiny snowflakes from that mini puffy sticker set just to kind of help decorate the brick wall a little bit more. And then I had under my wreath, I put Happy Holidays from the the tag stamps that I had. And then this is one I had actually cut early on. I was cutting out something else with my silhouette from this paper and had a strip. And so I decided to try out these little candy cane tags. And so when the silhouette cuts it, it automatically, like, it cuts these little slits in there. And so then in the hole for if you wanted to tie a ribbon, and all you have to do is slide in the candy cane and, maybe add a little glue dot or something to hold the candy cane in place. But then you can, before you put your candy cane in, right on the back of it and tie it to a gift, and it just adds an extra little treat to a gift tag. So I have one of those just because I thought I'd play with it. And then I have a bunch of little tags where I was using scraps from the paper, and they're all on cardstock, some on white and some on craft. So here's some more of that little reindeer. I just took a strip, backed it with white cardstock, rounded all the corners, and then I added, just so I could leave that little cute deer as the focal point, I just added some rhinestones to some of the snowflakes or the little star bursts. This one, I just added my little Santa or coming to town embellishment. This is another Santa that I had printed. It was a Santa image I had printed out from my silhouette and fussy cut out. Pulled in a little strip of green to ground him. Here's that first vintage Santa that I had, and I had some of these green circles left on my table, and so I just pulled them in. I know the Santa doesn't fully fit on there, but that's fine. It just kind of still helps him pop and gives it a little bit more. And then I have some that are just tag shaped. This one I pulled in some strips of like the green tear strips that I had left to back the Santa. And this is another one on a green circle. And then the rest of the tags that I have are actually from the paper pad, the cover. So this cover was actually pretty thin, which is fine, because it still makes, you know, slightly more sturdy tags than just the pattern paper itself. So it had strips, like, you know, showing you some of the different patterns, and so I just cut all the strips and then trimmed them down. So this is one that I just took the strip and figured out how wide it was, doubled it so that I could make a little mini note card, and so it ended up being, I think it was 2 3/8, and so I went like 4 3/4. And I just left it plain just because it's got like the glittery snowflakes on it. And then same with this one, I just kind of left it, but this was what was left from this strip, rounded all the corners, punched a hole. This one was the strip that was showing some of the different cut aparts. So this one was already gorgeous, so I just rounded the corners, punched the hole. Thought that one was perfect as it was. Then there was a strip that had Santa on the sled, and so I did trim off some of the blue sky, like the night sky that was at the top, and left the top corners squared, punched my hole, and was just going to leave it as it was. But then I decided I had in my little pre-stamped or pre-printed sentiment basket I have on my desk, I also had some Christmas words that I had cut out in vinyl. And so I decided to go ahead and add that at the bottom, just so it's like a little subtle, you know, interest to that tag. And then I got two out of the strip of the bells, and again with the vinyl words that I had cut from scrap vinyl, I added joy, and they're kind of hard to read. I do realize that, but I was trying to use up some of those little vinyl words, and I wasn't really sure. I didn't really have any other good things to decorate it with, or nothing was calling to me. So just kept it simple, put the vinyl words on, and that was it. So I am done with this pad. I'll show you all of the scraps that I have left. And of the scraps that are left, I will be going through and adding them to the insides of my cards. I haven't done that yet. And then I will be coming back here in another day or so and giving you the full pad wrap up. That's what I have today. And I thank you guys so much for your time. All of the card sketches will be linked in the description box below as always. And if you have any questions, let me know. But I hope you guys are all having a wonderful holiday week, and that you find some time to have a crafty day as well. Bye guys.